CueCam slides are handy and really easy to use, but I think we could make them magnificent. So today I'm going to share my progress on CueCam's future design systems to take everything to the next level. Welcome to Squares TV App Lab number 83, where we talk about Video Pencil, Shoot and CueCam Presenter. This is a lab on after hours and going out live on YouTube. I'm Michael Forrest. I make apps and I make other crazy stuff like this. So we're gonna start with some updates. So last week I shipped a new build which should be solid. I'm always scared to say it. I think it's solid. So if you do find any edge cases, please, especially if there's a crash report, please send that to me. I am in the next release. I've figured out how to make something that does that automatically for me, so you don't have to sort of copy and paste it into an email. But yeah, any crash reports or even minor issues, please let me know, because I'm really trying to get on top of every last detail of that stability for CueCam. We're into the cute baby already. There he is. Now I'm noticing, tell me are you getting audio, because my headphone monitoring seems to be off, as we talk about new slide designs. Who have we got? So I wanted to talk about slides in CueCam today. After a very short updates thing, I'm trying to keep this like relatively quick today, because these keep kind of being a bit long, but it really depends on how many questions you have. So I'm going to talk about slides, but first I want to explain what they are in CueCam, because they might not be what you're used to. So this is what is a card and what is a slide from the CueCam website. So just to sort of summarize, in CueCam, a card starts with the text for your teleprompter. So think of it as a cue card that reminds you what to say next. So I'm sort of looking at cue cards right now as I talk you through this. And then tagging some of the text on the card puts that text on a slide. So here where it says Michael, that's now going to turn into a slide that's going to appear on the screen. But yeah, what is a slide? So a slide is made up of text, images and videos, screen shares, or a second camera or whatever. So if you tag your teleprompter text, you can make that appear in a slide. So here you see I've written Michael and that's tagged, and so that now appears on a slide. You can change the alignment of the different slides, with this card menu, and that will sort of make them sort of arrange the text and images differently. So it can be bottom, top, left, right, middle, according to this setting. So how do slide images work? So slides have inline images and one background image. So you can have as many inline images as you want. I should be using my laser pointer for this, shouldn't I? So the mouse. So here's your inline images. So there's 1, 2 inline images, and then that's the background image there. So you can add a background image by dragging it onto the card's plus button, and inline images can be turned into background images via the pop-up editor, and you can use background images to show full screen content or something to appear behind your text and images. Or you could just use them as the whole image if you just want to import your stuff from somewhere else. So cards can have these slides on them with the text and the images, and they can also have triggers on them. So this is like this is something else that can be attached to a card. So this can be something like show a picture, this I don't know if I think this is a good GIF for images, but yeah, like this sort of like change the scene, like start some music, go over to the desktop, pan to a different thing. There's different things, but most of them are actually like going to be like slide attachments really. And then pop-up editors, triggers and attachments, yeah, like anything that's attached can be popped up like this. And then you've got the card sidebar, so you can see the triggers and attachments all at once. And I should have been reading this off my teleprompter instead of looking down at the other screen this whole time. But every day we get better using our own tools. My teleprompter is very dusty. So that's kind of the basics of CueCam slides. And now I want to talk about the design goals that I have for CueCam's slide system, because not everyone can be a graphic designer. So I want to make it simple to always look good. I want it to be super easy to edit. I want it to be customizable, but like it's got to be customizable but always look good, right? Like, so something like Keynote is very customizable, but it's also very hard, very easy to make it look bad. So you sort of need to be have a bit of a design sensibility to pull off a good Keynote layout, unless you keep it super simple. Whereas, so it's sort of like the more customizable it is, probably the harder it is to make it look good. So this is and also the harder it is to edit. So I'm sort of trying to find the right sweet spot for customization. And then finally, like, I think it'd be cool just to be able to set up, like, a drawing canvas over here. So always be able to sort of like have a space that I can draw. And then this background can now become just whatever. I can sort of start expressing myself through my background instead of always having to kind of keep a lot of space for drawing and a lot of clear space. So that's the goals that I have for the slides in CueCam. So what does that look like now? So currently the layout picker gives a pretty safe starting point for different types of slides. So you can sort of select it from here, and this gives you a few different options. And basically what that is sort of the things I found myself creating the most, and I've just like wrapped each of those things. So like, can we zoom in? Yeah, we can zoom in. So like a little title with an icon, title with some bullets, a picture and title, pictures. So sort of some newsreader style stuff essentially here. Like a big photo backgrounds with text and graphics on them, videos, video loops, share your screen, share an app, share a window, share a website, and I'm using that a lot today, and share a second camera. So these are sort of the basic slides that you're going to be using in CueCam. But I don't give you a WYSIWYG editor because I believe that editing text is the way to get great presentations because it makes you focus on the words you'll speak instead of building slides covered in text. I really think that making text first and foremost so that you can think in terms of thoughts instead of in terms of where am I going to stick this on the slide is going to create better presentations. It's also a great way to avoid, having these inline tagged text things is a great way to avoid repeating yourself because your titles can form the flow of the cards you write, like this one. So, like I showed before, so this is the one that I was just saying. So I do not give you a WYSIWYG editor. So I'm able to just like read that, but then that also can become sort of go onto the screen. You see, I used the new strike through syntax that I added a few weeks ago to just cross out WYSIWYG there. And I should say I am using a prototype of the newest stuff for today, so you're gonna see some nice new little bits and bobs going on. So yeah, as I sort of showed in that initial website, it's pretty composable. You can achieve some pretty nice layouts with the right sequences of tags. And then sort of the other control that you have at the moment is you can sort of select the font, but it's basically the global font. And I've got a couple of little rudimentary design systems, which were just some things that happen to be technically simple to achieve within CueCam's architecture. So I sort of I wanted something a bit better than just like the text we had, but I didn't really have time to really dig into it, and I didn't really know what I wanted it to be next. So the default design system is called Immersed, and basically it's just like it gives you some text on a transparent, it's just sort of some plain text floating over, and it's got a little drop shadow just to try and create some contrast if there is something on there. So that was actually inspired by my interview with David Paskin like a couple of years back now. So I'm going to show, I'm going to show that in a sec. Is that here? So here's David Paskin's what he showed. So he has his nice sort of like stuff like that, and I thought, yeah, that looks really cool, that looks really neat. But what I'm going to show today, I am going to show a couple of examples of what I don't like. So I am apologizing in advance to John, because the fact that you've churned out so much content with CueCam means that you're the most likely to have given me examples of things I want to improve. So please don't take anything I say or show too personally. So this is when it goes wrong, right? So we've got the left-hand side layout, and then we've got the person has ended up on the left, and now you literally got his name is sort of over his mouth, and this is like, this to me obviously should have been down there, but I can't but the trouble is, I think maybe by default it was sort of on the left, and if you sort of don't notice, because this is like a moving video and it wasn't always in front of his face, but I would, the fact that it wasn't sort of down there meant that things like this could happen, and this is a bit of a compositional nightmare. And then another one, I meant to zoom in on this. I didn't really. Just things like having a background that's a little bit busy. So, we've sort of got this hard black line, which sort of almost works because of the bullet points, but it does look a bit awkward. And we've got some light colors, and then suddenly we've got some dark color, and it's sort of like the text is sort of fighting with the background a lot. And this is like, I'm sort of going, I had to sort of go back a little bit further to find some of these things, John. So like, I think they've definitely become a lot more, I think as you've improved, like, I'm seeing a lot less of this sort of thing. This one is a bit older. This one really made me wince. Like, can you even spot the text on this one? So like, if you've got a super busy background and then you just put text over it, like no chance of anyone being able to read that. And it's just going to give people a headache. And then I just wanted to show this. This I actually made myself. This is like the cursed screen share. So once you have you're sharing your screen and then you've got text over the top of it, you can end up with like text colliding with user interface text, and this is just absolutely awful. Like we never want to see this in CueCam. Like this is just this is not making us look good. Here there are a few things to no amount of drop shadow could solve this one. So I did do some stuff with. I was going to show you some stuff I did with Shoot. So this is from a while back, where like. But you see, actually, I have a similar problem. Like what I do is I communicate between CueCam and Shoot. So that when you've got a slide that's over on this side, it actually pans the camera over to the other side. So this was one of my first forays into it. So you see, it goes, when I play that slide, it goes, come on. Whoops. Yeah, right. So, and you see, but the trouble is here, like, I can either like zoom in, or I could, like you see, it's just like there's not enough video to like move that way. So it's still kind of a little bit of a mess. So then I've sort of my couple of other little design systems. Once I started looking at this, I did a couple of different sort of layouts. So I did like an individual, this is called. So you see we've got like this little design system at the document level. So I just sort of chucked a couple of those in just to get started. So we've got individual, which basically draws a text box around each block of text, and it actually reminds me of this design I worked on for an agency a few years ago, like one of the first Flash things I did, and it had that kind of style to it, and I really liked it. But it's quite a specific style. But so I sort of like how this looks, but like it's not like really a sort of generally useful style. And then Union is the other sort of basic design system, and that basically just it sort of creates a tight box around all of the content and just sort of sticks that there. But you can see you can still end up with collisions if you're not careful. And I was going to say, why is it called Union? It's because literally it takes a union of all the rects. So it's called Union because it's, if you've got this rect and this rect, then the union is the box that covers all of them. So that's why that's called that. So as I say, like very easy to do technically because I still haven't really figured out what I actually wanted it to do. So, but I sort of made a little incremental improvement, but I hadn't really sort of come up with a design. So the next step was look for some inspiration. So I've been looking for sources of inspiration for a few months now, and I've been looking through different styles of presentation templates, going through motion graphics packs and things for Final Cut, Apple Motion, sort of looking on YouTube, going through motion, paying attention to TV production, YouTubers, live streamers, and seeing if I can spot stuff that would help sort of solve those problems that I outlined before. I've looked at quite a lot of stuff like this. So you sort of get these packs. I'm sort of seeing like, okay, what would be like, what would work for CueCam here? And sort of like looking through all different transitions that they got, and like I have the graphics. I have a graphics engine in CueCam with which I can do anything I like. It's all like shader code. Like I'm not really limited by sort of like Apple's higher level interface things, but sort of deciding what to do. But you might recognize this one, because I think that's, like a lot of these where it sort of masks in and masks out. I thought that would look quite good. So that's kind of what you've seen in my Squares TV presentations which are like using my in progress design system, which and transitions that aren't actually in the main version of CueCam, but I just use them for these sessions while I'm still kind of like ironing out what I want them to be. So yeah, like I was looking at all this stuff, and then the breakthrough I had, it all kind of came together in my head, like how to sort of like really like tighten this up properly. One Sunday morning when I was Googling for help on coda forms, and I found this this video, and I thought, there we go. So where I'm sort of like cutting off, doing a thing there, if we just like come in from the side, then we can just move the camera over a little bit. And like we can crop. So by having a solid background, we solve the problem, right? Of having like not enough camera and not wanting to zoom in and lose resolution and all that kind of stuff. So I thought, actually, yeah, that's great. And then he actually like, it's quite simple. And then he'll like on a different slide, he'll just like go to a different background color. And I think it's like with some fonts, with some images, I think this like gets you a really long way. And if I let you set the background color per slide and maybe font, so that's what I'm using today as a system that lets me do that. And then I saw that and I thought, I think that's the way forward. And then I saw that that's kind of what Apple does as well. So in some Apple videos, you get stuff like this. And then this can be a different width depending on how much content there is as well. So if you want to like show a load of stuff, you can sort of be pushed over narrow. And actually, like I did notice that this was sort of a layout that I sort of saw Ecamm users creating or similar versions of that quite a lot. And I think actually, like, if I can just go, okay, here's my here's my content and here's me, and then all I've got to do is like, I know, okay, I know I'm in the middle. As long as I'm in the middle, then it's really easy to sort of like push you over and not lose anything because we're just like covering it over with whatever's here. So I think this is going to be a really good solution. And of course, like being Apple, like I think that they're sort of transitioned away from, they're trying to do this sort of thing wherever possible. But you see, this, you've got her, it's all sort of rule of thirds, but also, her background is very much created. And then all the different Apple developer videos, you'll see the backgrounds will always be sort of curated to sort of create these areas where you can show, sort of like rule of thirds. There's a square there, and then there's like the rest of it's like that. So, but I think what we want is, since I can't really rely, trouble is, when we are live to camera, and this is something I've noticed sort of doing it on my main camera, is if I do have slides coming in, then I kind of have to remember to move out the way. And I can sort of do it, it's not too bad, but like you sort of, it's one thing to be able to take a sequence of shots where in one shot you're framed nicely here, and then for the next shot you're framed nicely in the center. But when you're doing this live, you sort of like, it's another thing to remember to do, and it's not like that obvious. So I kind of wanted to make that automatic and as simple and sort of bulletproof as possible. And just the other point was, people, there will have been a lot of a design eye will have gone into each of these Apple developer videos, and that's the thing with Apple stuff, with Keynote stuff, like they've got a team of very good designers, sort of like making sure that all their stuff is up to snuff, and we want something that just simply just works like out the box, and it's quite hard to break, which is a slightly different problem, and just isn't so specific and so branded that it's like it's too specific, basically. So let's talk about these steps implementing this. So the features that I then need to implement for this to work are, one, like pan the camera, and I sort of need to know how much content there is. So I've actually done this thing of I know when I lay out this text, I know the size of my safe area, and I know where the middle of that is, and so I can move the camera over to the middle of that. And what that then lets me do is, if the text wanted to push this outwards, it could just naturally kind of push you over. So this is something I wanted to, I worked quite hard to, like I could have just gone, okay, this line is always at 40% of the screen. And then, so if you're on the left, just go over sort of a bit that way, which is kind of how the shoot thing works. But I wanted it to be content aware. Drying up. Jeff says, let's put this on. Simple is best. Yeah. So yeah, the other thing, so yeah, I want it to be aware of the content and be able to like adjust where the camera gets cropped to based on how much content there is, and you not to have to like come up with that yourself. Although I think like sometimes you might want to be able to slide it over, so I'm looking at that as well. Custom colors, and I want that to be per slide, and I thought like custom colors maybe a little bit like maybe a gradient. I thought that could be quite nice, although actually the way it's rendered, I'm using two completely different graphics systems to author and then to render, so maybe that that would be a bit harder. Actually it wouldn't, because it's a shader language, so it's really easy to make a gradient. Anyway, and then the other thing is just nice transitions. So going back to that, those cards, those sort of like graphics packs, motion graphics I was talking about, I want some transitions. So actually what you're seeing today is pretty much what it's going to be, but like I need to make it a lot more bulletproof and a lot more like usable, because at the moment like you kind of have to know what to twiddle to make it all work, because I only worked on it at the end of yesterday and this morning. So something as part of this, for the flexibility, I've actually thrown in a brand new tag. This is going to be in the beta soon, but thrown in a brand new tag into CueCam, which is the spacer. So this is sort of like a really powerful little thing to let you make kind of customize things. So what this does is you can have a little spacer, so that's represented by a little up-down arrow. We can add those to cards, and now you can get, just by sticking a spacer in, we can get a nice blank slate, a nice area that we can draw on, and all we had in the card was just like a spacer to tell it, okay, like make a thing on the side. And I guess if we wanted to, you know, if we wanted to go over to the other side, oh no, you see, like this is we've found. I got, you know, we could come over and have a yellow one. I wanted to like, yeah, there we go. Oh, my drawing is on the wrong side now. Hello. You know, like, and sort of come to the next card, and now we're over here, and we've got a card. How are you? So I thought it'd be really useful, like, so instead of having to keep my background clear, just being able to like slide out a blackboard and draw on that. Hello, I love it. And then also being able to like, you know, what was that? Yeah, we can have a different color, you know, different things. Or, you know, we could even have something like, you know, we could have our chart, our title. This slide isn't working. Let's see what happens if I type. Yeah, so something like this. So in this case, do I have a picture of it? Yeah. So in this case, we've got like a spacer, some content there, another spacer, and then some stuff down the bottom. So that sort of gives you something that looks more like this. So it's quite a flexible. Essentially, it's using SwiftUI to do stuff. So that's all. Yeah. So Jeff, I will answer your question. So Jeff says, where is the list of tags at? So basically, what I'm talking about here is, if I can just get a CueCam window here, let's just do a new script and share that nice and big, so that I can just show you where that lives. So if we go demo mode, oh, demo mode's acting up today. Apparently. Let's just, what I was just going to show you was this. This should work this time. Okay, this time we got it working. So Jeff, in answer to your question, if you use this button here, you're going to see all the tags. So if we click on that, so there's teleprompter text, title, image, bullet, quote, footnote, subtitle, paragraph, table. You can have a table in there, and then spacer. Like, so spacer is actually like an unusual character as well. So I would just like, when you come to use this, sort of like insert one that way, but then you can just easily like you know, copy and paste that around. This is good. So this means demo mode will work later as well. God, my mouth keeps getting really dry. Okay. I'm gonna put a thing in CueCam, so when it crashes, it comes back to the same place that you left off, because it's good to have that sort of thing, isn't it? Right, coming back to, where are we? Okay, so the design system I'm calling today. So you've seen immersive, you've seen union, you've seen individual. So the design system I'm using today, so the new one is called Clean. and it will become the default CueCam layout, the default CueCam system in future. So when you make new documents, this is kind of what you're going to get by default, because I think it's the most foolproof. And then the one that's currently called Immersed is going to become Expert, because I think it takes a bit more expertise in design and composition to pull it off well. So that's sort of coming up through the pipeline. So you can see I've made some progress on this today. Apparently not 100% stable. I wish I'd looked at what that crash was though. I will be putting this into the beta at some point soon, and I got in the habit today. I switched to the main branch. I made a fix on there, rebased that. So I'm like being a lot more effective about my beta separation. So yeah, that's basically what we're talking about today. So if you've got any questions or comments or suggestions, but I also want to couch that as I am less interested in like, can you make it so that I can edit every font size and change every font and drag things around? Like, this is not what we're going for. It's like, I want you to tell me, like, I am struggling, like, that would not let me communicate X, right? Or, like, with the current system, I can't show this. So I need to sort of get the underlying problem that you're trying to solve, rather than, like, sort of individual editing feature requests. Because otherwise we end up with a lot of arbitrary configuration and customization, and it turns into a Microsoft product. And I want a bulletproof system that works 90% of the time. And then if you do really need a bespoke design or bespoke motion graphics, you just like do that in another thing and just bring it in as an image or as a video that you can split and do all that kind of stuff. So much stuff you can do with video and images that, like, CueCam really is about, like, creating those on-the-fly titles, graphics in the flow of what you're talking about. Think about the content, not ever have to, like, get RSI fiddling around dragging things on slides. So, like, when you sort of give me feedback requests, just try and bear in mind that, like, I need to hear the underlying problem rather than the kind of like, oh, I want to be able to, like, change the drop shadow depth or something, or like I want to, because we can, it's so easy to just add a ton of stuff. And I think kind of Ecamm's gone that way. Look, they've just gone, okay, here's a box, you can put some text in it, and there's 15 different like customizations, and that's great if you know what you're doing, and if you want to do that a lot. Whereas what I'm trying to do here is make it all about the text editing and just really take care of making sure it looks good 90% of the time without you having to really think. So, and I think we can pull that off. So I'll wait a few moments for questions, see if there's anything else, but I'll also check if anyone's still watching. We've got a few people. I like that this isn't like 2 people anymore. But yeah, with that, we're going to come on to everyone's favourite segment, Break the Fourth Wall time. So we're going to go into demo mode. This time it's not going to crash. And I'm going to show you the script that I just ran through in CueCam. So every one of these streams is run basically on CueCam. I still haven't done the picture of what my rig looks like. But what? Yeah. So before I show demo mode, maybe the first thing I should show is, oh god, it's a bit messy though. Second camera. Hey Tony. So if we go second camera, that's set up for here. So what we've got is, I've got my laptop, I've got my Elgato prompter, I've got like a nice camera in the back, I've got a light here, I've got a couple of extra lights behind me, and I've got a green screen back there. So and my keyboard's there, and then my iPad is there. So if I just put that back, you can kind of see that's what my rig, and my big microphone, obviously. It's almost like goes without saying, like, use a good mic. But yeah, so that's like the physically behind the scenes. And then just to show you like what the document looks like, if we scroll, do you know scrolling upwards seems to be a bit weird sometimes. So this is, I'm just going to come back to these so you can see what they look like. So this is my, you see I've been using a little bit of spaces. I was trying to get, I noticed that this doesn't line up to where it used to line up to. So I was trying to sort of like adjust it with some judicious bullet points and spaces, but I couldn't get it quite in position. This is like the before we come in, and this is as we're kind of coming to the countdown. This space here is for the countdown, which will appear if your document has a start time. So down here we've got countdown to 6 o'clock. So if I made that a countdown to 7 o'clock, we would see maybe if I stopped and started again, we should see, yeah, a countdown timer on there. But I will put that back. So that just happens automatically. It's got no customization. It's just like you get what you get. I think it looks cool. And then if we stop that again. And then the next card is my little coming up card, which has some music playing. I don't know if you could hear that because I couldn't hear it. So this starts a music loop, which is just set to loop. And this just keeps going while I'm talking. And then you've got a title so this is in a horizontal thing, and then I've got my Squares TV ident on the next card, which is set to go to next card afterwards, and it also stops that music. So when I go next, have I muted the Squares TV ident or something, or is it broke? Did you hear that Squares TV ident then? Anyway, so that then comes to this next card, which has the music and it has my title, and basically I just save as every week and just update the numbers. So you see, and then I've got my card, which has got like a little arrow and it's got a couple of things. Oh, another thing I did this week was I changed the default, like the font sizes for the different sizes of text to be a little bit more, have a little bit more contrast in sizes, basically. So it goes 50%, 50%. Yeah, so you should, the music, but are you hearing this when I go to the type? You're hearing this. And then the music starts. Yeah, I don't know if you heard the music on that. Yeah, so now we've got this is the next loop, so you should still be hearing that. Go over to a video background on this one. I have accidentally, so here this is my sort of in progress editor, so I think this, probably I edited it before and it was sort of like not the right one anymore. Let's see if that makes it look right. Yeah, so this was supposed to look like this. So I had a list of things. Okay, cool. So it's just my monitoring that's weird. And then I've been using, I actually updated the center cards to sort of be much bigger. So when you have like the card layout is the center one, that now is like sort of much more bang. So I think that's looking good. I've got some notes on my updates, and then again, so I've been using these a bit today. And then I've got like some ones that share a website. So this shares the website and it goes to this link. And so I did that a few times. Design goals has bullets. So you see when we're on here, next bullet, that comes in, next bullet, that comes in, next bullet, that comes in. So basically all I'm ever doing is pressing this big pink button, or the button on my Stream Deck that controls the big pink button. And then you see here, like before I wrote today's script, I did some little comments on there to just remind myself what I wanted to do. Had some pictures here, layout picker. I thought this looked really good without me really doing anything. I showed you the WYSIWYG thing, and then I took a screenshot of that, put that on the next card. And then same here, like sort of screenshots. So you see all of this. You see, like I didn't do any like real custom stuff. All I did was so this is a background image, or sometimes it's an inline image, which makes it come over here. So depending on what I'm feeling, like sometimes I don't want it to be big, sometimes I do. I'll sort of put it in different positions. But you see, like these cards are pretty simple. Like there's really, like it's all really about what I'm going to say. Show the stuff I want to show. A lot of these you see pasted, so I just took a screenshot and just copied that to clipboard and just pasted it in, so that's why it's called pasted whatever. And then I've got my little anti-patterns, my cursed layout. These should have, I don't think this worked, but like these you can actually say, okay, I want this to be at this zoom level when I come to it, so when we come back it should like come in at that zoom level. So I use that quite a lot, but I think maybe it didn't save or something. So if I was like, I just want to really sort of focus on this, store current zoom, then when I present that card, yeah, it sort of goes to the right bit. Well, that didn't seem to work that time. So yeah, some more stuff here. Titles, you remember what I said. And then yeah, like video stuff. So again, we're sort of like jumping into YouTube. So I actually use the start at specific time codes as well for YouTube. And then yeah, again, just more bullet points, more stuff. So you see, like it's sort of like a long, like we can have a look. Like it's a long, but what have we got, like 67 cards for like 30 minutes kind of thing. So, it's a decent amount, but I did see a really good YouTube video on presenting yesterday, which was just like stop trying to cram everything on one card and like make more cards. It's fine. So CueCam is actually sort of has that built into its ethos. But I was glad to see someone sort of saying it out loud. So yeah, then I sort of showed some spacer examples. This I did like a pink one, and you see the color there. But if we go to this one, we see that's a yellow one. If we come to here, we see that's a blue one. So really sort of rudimentary customization features there. You see this. Oh, this one did animate properly that time. And then, sort of my little announcements. This one, I wanted it to come in one at a time, immersed, expert. So, I did those as bullets. No, you don't have the design set. So this is all like future stuff, Jeff. This is like, you don't have this yet. It will be on the beta at some point soon. Which brings us to, didn't I say it? Yeah. Brings us back to, this was the questions, comments, suggestions card. And then, I did some of these, like, don't ask this. And then I came to break the fourth wall time, which had a little music thing. I should make this like a center, break the fourth wall time. Well, it had a video in it before, but then I got rid of it. But there we go. That's break the fourth wall. And then if we end demo mode, but I might come back to demo mode. But what I'm going to say is I am going to do, some of that stuff is like literally I did it this morning, Jeff, so like it's not going to be available for a while, and I'm still like tinkering with it and just making sure it's going to be what I want. But because I think like having what I noticed when I was putting together this deck was the difference in widths that Apple uses when they're doing the solid thing. So I'm looking forward to sort of coming up with a nice neat UX for that. I'm doing so next time, I just wanted to give you a heads up. I'm doing a normal session next week, but after that, I'm going to be doing some, like, whatever the minimal effort labs for 3 weeks, so I can take a break. So we've got some holidays booked. We're seeing some family in Italy and some friends in Croatia. So I should have some lovely videos to show you. But like next week's going to be a normal one, even though I'm sort of going to see my parents at the weekend in another town and then coming back. But I'll be here. But I'm going to try and figure out, like, it's going to be more of a, I'll sort of go live, but I'm not going to have like a show for you. I'm just going to be like available to you if you've got questions, basically. And maybe, I'll show you some holiday photos. I think that's going to be about what it's going to be. But meanwhile, I did want to get you thinking about something, which is like, who do you know that could use this? And what could I give you to help you kind of like tell people about it? Like, and what would like motivate you as well? Like, so, is it, do I need more like good landing pages? Do you need to talk to me about like the situation that you're in? So I'm thinking like friends, family, colleagues, like your boss, and what can I do to help you share it? So I'm sort of feeling confident enough to start trying to get the word out. So just have a think about if there's anyone that would really benefit. It's because remember that there's the free tier, like you can just use it for free and do all the drawing and do all the all that stuff. And just if we can get more people like leveling up their kind of webcam skills, basically, because aren't you just bored of people turning up on their FaceTime camera and built-in MacBook mic, or worse, like built-in PC mic, and just like you can't hear what they're saying? So like I think it's time to start figuring out how to get the word out. So if you've got any thoughts on what I could do, and if that's affiliate schemes, if that's like you want a shareable thing, if that's merch, if that's stickers, I don't know, like stuff that will help help you think about who that might sort of really benefit from this, and like how they would sort of feel about adopting it, and what would be the barriers, and what could I do to help. So this is something we're thinking about. But anyway, here's where I am when so you can email me, michael@squaresTV, and then we've got the Discord, which is where we hang out and where you can get help when I'm asleep. And today I'm gonna I'm sort of a bit of a last minute deluge session, I think, just to sort of play us out. So just to show you how that works, I'm going to go back to demo mode, but I'm going to try and remember to switch it out of demo mode this time, which I did not last week. So I put on my headphones, I go to my dashboard, Well, I'm going to go to the next slide, which is the overhead camera. I'm going to make sure that Evo's plugged in, because that's what it wasn't actually plugged in. Hey Lorenzo. Thanks everyone for watching. I'm seeing lots of nice comments. So I'm actually this is going to be a song today. So it's on the Deluge. Thanks to my Deluge import tool. But there's I think we can. I think I want to just knock back the. If I can. I just want to knock back the UV a little bit. Yeah, there we go. That looks better. Oh, by the way, I did my fade button, but it sort of doesn't fade to so I've got a little fade button on the screen deck. So yeah, with that, so then I've just got to add the Evo input so that we hear that. Right. So yeah, I'm just going to play you a little song. See what you think. I think, you know, and see you next time. Thank you again so much for watching. Let's come out of demo mode. Make sure that everything looks good. I at some point need to make it so I can like zoom to the right spot, because it's really annoying at the moment. And yeah, thanks. And I'll see you next week. And to play us out is Moi.
If she really stood as large in life as in his mind, she'd topple buildings when she breathed, and whispers would echo through the streets. Desperate, he needs to see her true face be revealed. Go on, hit me now, he screams. Doesn't seem to know he's real, yet he looms across the doorway. There's no till someone bleeds, 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 till someone. They won't stop till someone. They won't stop till someone.